Hey folks, I'm Tim Black. Thank you for tuning in. As promised, I told you I was going to stay on top of the Mike Brown case, and that's what I intend to do. The clip I'm about to show you is a woman's testimony regarding what she saw. She says she saw the execution of Mike Brown. Notice I didn't say shooting of Mike Brown. I didn't say the wrestling match between Mike Brown and an officer. I said execution. I called it first and I'm sticking by it. Watch the clip, come back, and let's talk.
Sharon, this newest witness is 27-year-old Tiffany Mitchell. She says she does not know what led up to the Ferguson police officer firing shots and killing unarmed teen Michael Brown. She says when she arrived, it was just moments before the fatal shots were fired. Listen closely to what she says she saw.
As I was coming around the corner, I heard the tires squeaking on the truck, and as I get closer is when I see them tussling through the window. Like the kid was pulling off and the cop was like pulling in.
Tiffany says she saw the door closed on the police car, the officer inside and Michael Brown on the outside, and the two are wrestling through the window of the police car. At this point, she tries to pull out her cell phone to record, but gunfire begins.
That just didn't look right for them to be wrestling, but the first gunshot came from the window, so like I could start getting out the way because the shots just came after that.
After the first shot is fired, Tiffany says Michael Brown begins to run away from the Ferguson police officer. We should warn you, her description is very graphic.
At this time after the shot, the kid breaks away and he started running away from the cop. The cop follows him and kept shooting, and the kid body jerked as if he was hit. And after his body jerked, he turned around, he puts his hands up, and the cop just continues to walk up on him and shoot him until he goes all the way down.
All right. I'm sure some of you out there who want to give that officer the benefit of the doubt. You're saying, oh, let me just defend the officer. Because you have, something in your head that tells you young, black, big means kill. Or, I don't know, maybe you think big means kill. I don't know. Maybe some of you is not racial. It's just size thing. Here's the thing, folks. The officer was inside his vehicle. Why is he wrestling with someone from inside his car? That's not typically how things are done. You don't typically grab someone who's outside your vehicle. That's standard operating procedure for a cop. Officers. But anyway, I get it. You want to give him the benefit of the doubt because he is a peace-providing officer. The only thing is this. I think that this testimony this young woman gave is accurate. I think it matches almost perfectly to the testimony I saw on this video. Let me just give you a clip of this guy's video. Another eyewitness to the execution of Mike Brown.
And then he kicked the door open, tried to hit him with the door. Door flew back, hit his leg, bro. He just shot. He pulled his gun out, shot inside the car, tried to hit him. He got out the car, bro. Dude on his knees like this, like, bro, don't shoot me. Bro, don't shoot me. Dude, shot him dead in the head, bro. Then walked up to his body, shot him 4 more times. Looked at his eyes, paused for a minute, shot him 4 more times. Yeah, bro. Bro, yeah.
So now what's going on in Ferguson is the cops they've turned that location, total location, into a police state. They arrested a Huffington Post reporter. They've arrested a Washington Post reporter. In fact, they tossed him up against the wall. That's all. This was during the day. See, that's the reporter trying to reason with the unreasonable officer. I wonder how officers act when they're overseas. Yeah. I need everyone out there to recognize what we're dealing with. Look, there is no more time for you to sit on the sidelines talking about, I'm going to stick with my tribe. I'm going to be about my people. We are all your people, unless you are a millionaire living in a chained community, a gatekept community. Unless you one of those folks who is privileged to be of the top, percentile of Americans. I know someone corrected me, Romney's 47%. If you're one of the 47%, which most of you are, then we need to be the people. See? We're the people, not them. It's not about them, it's about us. Understand? It's no more them, or they need to get their people together, or they need to listen more, or they need to, none of that. We need to get that out of our lexicon. We need to unite, because these officers, they have beaten us down. They have taken over our streets, our cities, our states. You don't want me to preach to you, do you? You don't want me to preach to you, do you? I can preach to you. Where's my napkin at? Oh, these sons of bitches. Oh, I do my little Bernie Mac / Tim Black. Look, what happened to Mike Brown is a travesty. We want action. The Anonymous Network has shut down the police station. All computing has to be done locally. They can't get on the internet. Oh man, I love the Anonymous Resistance Program. Those guys are great. Fantastic work, fellas and ladies. Look, I don't care where you come from. I don't care what city you were born. I don't even care what country you in. I had someone from the UK tell me today they're watching what's going on here in the United States with St. Louis, and they are appalled. The fact that I have some Americans who are not similarly appalled, who are too busy being racially divided without realizing that's what they want. See, look, as long as officers, as long as the power establishment can keep us separated, they have a chance at controlling us. But if we come together, if we shake off all boundaries, if we unite as people with a common goal, we are unstoppable. Now, I'm not saying in all cases I want to be against law enforcement, but I am against police brutality in all cases. I care not what color the victim is. I did videos on Kelly Thomas. I did videos on Andy Lopez. I'm doing videos on Mike Brown. The color of the victim matters to me not one iota, not one little bit. What matters to me is that we stand up when it's time to stand up, and we stand up for one another as brothers and sisters of the world. Get off the street in the city that you pay for, in the neighborhood that you pay for. They're telling you you can't be in the street. Interesting. Last I checked, you bastards are paid through my money. Now a reporter, a member of the press can't even take film without you harassing them and arresting them. You shooting rubber bullets at grandmothers who are in front of their own house. This is martial law. I won't stand for it. We're going to fight back with everything we got. You understand? I wish I could be in St. Louis right now. That's my goal. Just a little bit about what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring us together, and I want to bring you the realest news possible. I want to expand my coverage so I can go on site and talk to the people in the trenches. It bothers me that I couldn't do that today. You know, today is my birthday, and some people want to take me out, get some drinks. I had to work, baby. I got to work, baby. I'm dedicated to what I'm doing here. Don't feel sorry for me. This is what I choose to do. This is my passion, all right? So enough about me. Mike Brown. The death of Mike Brown is going to be a catalyst for us to come together. Let's use it for something. Let's use his death for something. We need to beat back these police officers. They're trying to oppress us, to control us, to make us scared to be in our own homes, thinking that they can. Just think about what happened here. Young man's walking down the street, and the officer thinks he can tell him, you can't walk in the street. Yeah, I'm almost home. Then an argument breaks out. Officer tries to beat up the kid, grab the kid who was outside his vehicle. A tussle ensues. Officer shoots him, gets out of his car, and finishes him off. This is not a movie. This happened. Now, because people were upset, right? And protested because they saw this happen. You saw it happen in broad daylight. Now the officers want to shift the blame as if this is the people's fault, when it's the police department who created this situation. Go on Twitter, add Anonymous. Here goes a link to their Twitter page. If you don't have Twitter, get Twitter. I know some people don't, not everybody uses Twitter, but if you don't have Twitter, sign up for Twitter. It's free. Add me at Tim Bartender. Add Anonymous as well. You need to stop relying on CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, MSNBC, HLN, Fox, and MSNBC, I said that one. All that mainstream crap. You need to start relying on independent media, such as myself. Get your news from us. All right? Thank you for tuning in. I'm Tim Black. We are the change we're looking for. Not somebody else. You and I. We are the change. Not Obama, right? Not the Republican Congress, not the Democratic Congress, none of that shit. You and I. That's the change. Don't shoot.